There are many structures left over on Earth from ancient times, and some of those stand out from the pack. Here, we've collected some genuinely magnificent engineering marvels from the past, from famous ancient buildings and landmarks to the lesser-known but still as marvelous constructions. We now present to you impressive ancient structures. But before we get into today's video, make sure that you're subscribed and ring the bell so that you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Aqueduct of Segovia. This incredible aqueduct in Segovia, Spain, is quite the engineering feat, considering it's lasted since its completion, sometime between AD 98 and AD 112. The structure used to carry water from the Rio Frio River and carried it 9.3 miles before it finally reached Segovia, and it's one of the most well-preserved, elevated Roman aqueducts there is. It's made up of around 24,000 blocks of granite and features 167 arches, and there was no mortar used in the construction. The builders even came up with a subterranean distribution system to divide the water from the aqueduct among a number of places around the city, and Segovia recently had the routes of the underground water channels marked on its pavement. Of course, a few sections have needed repair and replacement throughout the years, but most of the aqueduct is still original, and it stands as the most important landmark and symbol in the city of Segovia. Carnac stones. This assortment of megalithic sites can be found in Brittany, France. The many sites around the village of Carnac are made up of rows, burial mounds, standing stones, and stone tombs. The granite standing stones number at around 3,000, and Brittany's pre-Celtic peoples erected them around 3,300 BC, but some may date back as far as 4,500 BC. This collection is by far the largest of its type on Earth, and many legends and myths try to explain their existence. In more than one legend, they are said to be soldiers turned to stone. One states that Merlin performed the magical men-to-stone feat, whereas another says it was Pope Cornelius. We may never know for sure exactly why they're there, but we do know that they are quite impressive and have managed to stand the test of time. Pont du Gard. Here's another incredible aqueduct, because we figured we couldn't talk about the Aqueduct of Segovia without mentioning Pont du Gard, an ancient Roman aqueduct bridge. It was originally built to carry water to Nîmes from a natural spring 31 miles away. It is the tallest surviving Roman aqueduct bridge and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it was designated back in 1985. It is a pride and joy of France that was built sometime in the 1st century AD, and the Roman engineers that made it were very skilled, as over the entire span, the height of the bridge only drops a total of 41 feet. This aqueduct is also mortarless, and the blocks used during construction were cut just right so that they'd fit together and not topple. It started to become a tourist attraction way back in the 18th century, and it is one of the most popular attractions in France today. It's beautiful, it's enormous, and it's a testament to what the ancient Romans were capable of. Great Wall of China. While many think the Great Wall of China is one single continuous wall, it's actually a series of human-made and natural fortifications that were built along the historical northern borders of China. It's often touted as one of the most incredible engineering feats in history, as taken as a whole, the Great Wall stretches an astounding 13,171 miles. Different sections were built, rebuilt, or just maintained by a number of different dynasties over time, and the most famous and recognized today are those erected during the Ming Dynasty. As we said, it's not just actual wall that makes up the Great Wall of China, but also trenches, rivers, hills, and other natural formations. It has also served as more than just a fortification in its lifetime, and has been used for border control, the regulation of trade, and more. Although portions of it are falling apart, and in some sections it's almost wholly disappeared, it is still visited by more than 10 million people every year. Leshan Giant Buddha. This magnificent Buddha statue sits at the confluence of the Dadu and Min rivers near Leshan, in the south of Sichuan province in China. It stands a massive 233 feet tall and was built during the Tang Dynasty between AD 713 and 803 under the direction of Haitong, a Chinese monk. As far as pre-modern statues go, the Leshan Giant Buddha is easily the biggest, and it's also the tallest and overall largest stone statue of Buddha on Earth. It is said that the hope of the statue was to help calm down the turbulent waters of the river, as before the Buddha, ship travel down the river was perilous. It's also rumored that the construction was so large and so much stone was pulled out of the cliff that the river's currents were changed, and the river did become safer because of it. The Leshan Giant Buddha is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it has been since 1996. Newgrange. Located in County Meath, Ireland, this prehistoric monument was built around 3200 BC. before even the pyramids in Egypt, or Stonehenge for that matter. It was built during the Neolithic period and is what's known as a passage tomb, with lots of different chambers, and is in the shape of a large mound. There are many examples of megalithic art inside, as well as possible votive offerings and human bones. It's believed that Newgrange held religious significance, although nobody knows for sure exactly what it was used for. The entrance to the passage tomb aligns with the rising sun on the winter solstice, and when the sun hits a roof box, the light floods and illuminates the chamber within. At its widest point, Newgrange measures 279 feet across, stands 39 feet tall, and it was made from approximately 220,000 tons of rock, earth, and various other natural materials. In total, the mound covers 1.1 acres, and surrounding it were once 35 standing stones, just 12 of which have survived until today. The Parthenon. This impressive former temple was constructed on the Athenian Acropolis between 447 and 438 BC, but it wasn't wholly complete until 432 BC, when it was fully decorated and decked out. The temple was erected in honor of Athena, the goddess of war, although it wasn't the first built for her on the same spot. There was what is often referred to as the older Parthenon, or pre-Parthenon, on the Acropolis before the current version, but it was destroyed in 480 during the Persian invasion. It first served as the treasury of the First Delian League, which then became the Athenian Empire, and it wasn't until the last decade of the 6th century AD that it became a Christian church that was dedicated to the Virgin Mary. It is one of the greatest cultural monuments in all the world, and it is an almost universally recognized symbol of ancient Greece. Theater of Marcellus. This big old theater was built near the end of the Roman Republic and was commissioned by Julius Caesar himself. He never got to see it though, as he died before construction even began, and it was inaugurated by Augustus in 12 BC. It was the largest theater in all of ancient Rome and could hold somewhere between 11 and 20,000 people. It often saw that many visitors, as it was also the most important Roman theater of its day. It was used for several centuries, but in the 4th century it fell into disuse, and stones were taken from the theater to build a bridge called Pons Cestius. It was used as a fortress during the Middle Ages, ensuring no further destruction, and then in the 16th century, the Orsini built a residence on top of the ruins of the theater. It is now used for summer concerts, and the upper floors and Orsini residence is separated into a number of apartments. Roman Colosseum. In its time, the Roman Colosseum, measuring 513 feet wide and 620 feet long, was the largest amphitheater in all the land, and it's still the largest to this day. It is extra impressive as it is a freestanding structure, something that didn't happen much at the time. Most large structures were built into hillsides to ensure they had proper support, so the Colosseum? Extra impressive. Construction began in AD 72 under Vespasian, the emperor at the time, and it was finished under his heir, Titus, in AD 80. On average, it only saw around 65,000 spectators, although it could hold many more, up to 80,000. It was used for many things, including battles involving gladiators, executions, mythology-based dramas, animal hunts, battle reenactments, and even mock sea battles. The Colosseum could be flooded for such battles, and it's thought that was achieved via a nearby aqueduct. It was quite advanced for its time, and many mechanisms were set up beneath the floors to pull off all kinds of incredible things. It still stands today, although it has been subject to all sorts of natural and human destruction over time, like being damaged by earthquakes and grave robbers. It is one of Rome's most famous and visited tourist attractions, taking the #1 spot in 2018. Borobudur. The largest Buddhist temple on the planet is called Borobudur, and it's located in central Java in Indonesia, in Magelang Regency. It is a Mahayana Buddhist temple from the 9th century that is made up of 9 different stacked platforms with a giant central dome on top. There are a total of 504 Buddha statues which decorate Borobudur, 72 of which surround the central dome. It was built before Cambodia's famed Angkor Wat, sometime back in the 9th century, and it's one of the better surviving examples of Javanese Buddhist architecture. It was largely unknown to the world until 1814, when the native Indonesians informed the British ruler of Java at the time of its existence. It first underwent restoration efforts from 1907 to 1911, and has been restored to its full glory many times since, and in 1991 it was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is the most visited tourist attraction in all of Indonesia. We've seen some impressive ancient structures so far, and we still have the last and the coolest to go. But first, we want to ask you, what's your favorite ancient building still standing or not? What feats of engineering and construction impress you the most? Let us know in the comments below. 1. Derinkuyu Underground City. This is a multi-level city that is thought to have been built in the 7th and 8th centuries BC. It is gigantic, and it could hold 20,000 people. But the most incredible thing about the city is that it's built underground and reaches depths of 200 feet. Oh, and not only would it be possible to pack 20,000 humans into the city, but they could have brought their food stores and livestock as well. Each of the floors in the city could be closed off separately, and the entire city itself could be closed from the inside, keeping anything unwanted out. It was used as protection during wartime and was put to the test during the Arab-Byzantine Wars as protection from Muslim Arabs. You'd think being trapped underground is the last thing anyone would want when warriors are waiting outside, right? Well, Derinkuyu's underground city was actually connected to other underground cities via long tunnels that spanned beneath the earth. It was abandoned at one point and then got rediscovered in 1963 behind the wall of some guy's house, and it's become a really popular archaeologist tourist destination today.